He followed his crush into another world and marries her to gain unimaginable power which he must use to protect her from demons. The story begins with a boy trying to catch a beetle when a mysterious light appears out of nowhere, causing him to fall from the tree. Near the light, the boy sees an old man and a little girl who seem to come from another world like aliens. He is surprised to see the girl, who asks for his name. He says it's Sato, and she introduces herself as Hime Nakana. She explains that he can't tell anyone what he saw, asking him to forget about it, and in exchange, she would be his friend. But Sato has a strange feeling, as if he needs to protect her. 10 years pass and Sato is sleeping, but is awakened by Hime beside his bed, saying she prepared breakfast. She has prepared a feast, having woken up early, excited about the end of classes. Sato looks closely at her, noticing that it's been 10 years since she and her grandfather became his neighbors. He is surprised at how much she has grown, thinking she was more discreet before. She explains that she started to stand out, and as a princess, she needs to be strong, which he doesn't understand because she has been saying this for years. She suddenly looks closely and leans in his direction, touching his face and making him nervous, but she was just removing a grain of rice from his cheek, leaving him embarrassed. Leaving for school, the two meet Hime's grandfather, and while walking, Sato keeps looking at the girl's necklace. He remembers when she told him that they are important to her, and that she will give them to the person she marries, before asking if he would marry her when they grow up. Now, Hime realizes he is looking at her pair of rings, saying she won't give them to him. This makes Sato sad, but he thinks it's expected of childhood promises. The two keep their way to school, and there, Hime is with some friends, proudly showing the grade she got on a test, saying that as a princess she needs to be smart. On the other hand, Sato is with some weirdos, while one of them is frustrated about having to spend the summer alone again and being Sato for having a girlfriend. Sato seems confused, but the friend points out how he always arrives with Hime. Sato says they are just neighbors, making the boy tell him not to wait too long and then regret it. So he realizes that Hime sent him a message, inviting him to the summer festival after school. Later on, Sato arrives at the festival, where Hime is wearing a traditional Japanese dress. She asks if she took his breath away, which he admits she did, making Hime blush with his honesty. The two walk together, and Hime seems really excited about the festival. She remembers how they got lost once, and how Sato held her hand after that, so it wouldn't happen again, confessing that he was her hero back then. They keep walking, until a stuffed animal catches her eyes. Sato decides to play, thinking about how he's bothered by them being just friends, so he decides to take his shot, and miraculously it works, to Hime and the vendor's surprise. In the end, the two move away and go to a place with a great atmosphere. Sato feels this is the right moment to confess his feelings, but he is suddenly interrupted by the fireworks. Hime is happy to have seen this with him and suddenly confesses that she has something to tell him. Sato gets excited, but Hime says she is moving back to her homeland with her grandfather and it will be tomorrow, leaving Sato shocked. Back home, Hime says goodbye to Sato, who tries to declare himself again, but is interrupted by her thanking him for the day, saying she will take good memories of him before running inside. That night, Sato is upset, remembering how she said that the place she is going to is far. He feels that he doesn't really know Hime, since he doesn't even know where she is going. He tries to remember the day when he met her, when suddenly he notices a light coming from the window. He looks at the strange glow and realizes that something like this happened 10 years ago. In the forest, we see Hime ready to cross the light when Sato arrives shouting her name and begging her not to go. She is happy that he remembered, but explains that her home is in a different world and she needs to marry and can't change that. So Hime says goodbye again and walks towards the light. However, Sato knows he didn't come there just to say goodbye, so he gathers his courage and decides not to waste more time thinking and runs after her. Suddenly, he appears in a castle, while someone refers to Hime as Princess Crystal. It seems Sato arrives right in the middle of Hime's wedding ceremony with a prince. She is shocked to see him when suddenly a monster from the abyss invades the castle through the window. Hime's grandfather is actually a powerful mage and remarks that they were right to hide the princess in another world. He also gets distracted by Sato's presence, receiving a blow from the creature. Hime needs to give the ring to the prince, but seeing Sato in that situation, she takes the ring and runs towards him, kissing him. The kiss seals the marriage and activates a power from the ring on their fingers. The rejected prince understands it, and immediately throws a sword to Sato. The ring given by Hime makes his sword glow, and without knowing what to do, he runs towards the monster and cuts it in half with a single blow, leaving everyone shocked. But the power is too much for Sato, so he faints on the ground. After the attack, Hime wakes Sato in the royal couple's room, making him remember how they shared the sacred kiss. This makes him blush, and he thinks that Hime really loves him. But she says she just didn't want to marry a stranger, and he was the only familiar face she saw, shattering all the boys' expectations. Everyone in the castle comments that a hero from another world was chosen to be the king of the ring. Hime's marriage was meant to be a bridge between the kingdom of light and the empire, but nothing went as expected, which must irritate the emperor. The prince defends the princess's decision, saying she made her choice according to tradition, and the will of the empire has no relevance there. Hime's grandfather points out that there is a large audience waiting for the new ring king. Sato is surprised to see so many people gathered for him, discovering that he will be their greatest hope in this world. So he shouts with all his might that he is the king of the ring, and that he came from his world to save them all, being their new hero. Hours later, we find Sato alone in the hot springs, thinking that he might have gotten carried away with the speech. Suddenly Hime appears, making Sato ask what she is doing there, but Hime has no choice because they are newlyweds, so asks him not to look at her. They are embarrassed, and Hime begins to apologize to Sato, saying she knew what would happen when she gave the ring, and that she shouldn't have dragged him into this. Sato tells her not to worry because everything will be fine, since he is the new ring king chosen by the Lady of Light. He knows she needs to stay in this world, so he will also stay to protect her, like he always did in his world. We see a flashback of Hime as a child being teased for her hair, until Sato appears, protecting her since they were children. Hime remembers this, and tells him that he has always been her hero. Sato can't stop looking at Hime. She notices this, and tells him to stop because it embarrasses her, saying that their marriage was just a facade. Even so, he is happy to have been chosen, even if impulsively. She takes the opportunity to ask Sato if he really likes her. He ends up saying just as a friend, because he's afraid of being rejected. Suddenly, a bell rings, startling Sato and causing him to stand up accidentally, to Hime's panic. Outside, a horde of beings from the abyss are trying to invade the castle. The couple arrives still dressing, making the guards realize they interrupted something. They explain that the demon from the other day was just a scout, and now there are more of them. Sato needs to act, but he doesn't know how to fight. They hand him a huge axe, and the mage explains that the ring repels evil and purifies everything Sato holds, creating perfect weapons to defeat the abyss. Sato declares that he will do everything to save Hime's world, even without knowing anything about it. So Hime becomes hopeful and kisses Sato, giving him more strength. She calls him dear, asking him to defeat them all, and Sato is ready to fight. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.